All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday afternoon webinar. Today we're going to be talking about our upcoming preteen retreat season at SpringHill camps, as well as talking about just some preteen related ministry topics. I have two of our speakers coming up for our season here this fall joining us live right now. We have Justin Brecken from Willow Creek, teaches in the Promised Land Ministry for 5th and 6th graders, and we have Michael Bouchard here from Kensington Community Church in the Detroit area. And so I just want to give each of them a minute or so to introduce themselves, tell us about what they do, and let's start with you, Justin.
Sure. So I work at Willow Creek out of Chicago, Illinois. I actually oversee all of our teaching in grades 2 through 5. For the last year or so, I've been doing that. Prior to that, I ran my own business with kids starting as young as 18 months, going all the way to age 12 in the soccer world, and then before that, I was actually a school teacher. So it's a little bit about me.
Very good. Well, glad to have you on our teaching roster this fall for preteen retreats, and glad to have you online with us this afternoon. Michael, you're no stranger to SpringHill, and I love the background of your shot there. You found an empty office, but it's occupied. But why don't you introduce yourself for us today?
Yeah, sure. My name is Michael Bouchard. I work at Kensington Church. I work with 2nd through 5th graders, and then I also teach family classes as well. I've been working in kids ministry for about 10 years and coming to SpringHill for about 6. So.
Okay, that's great. And tell me, let's stay with you just for a second, because I think your unique story about where you live is just really cool, and I think provides some perspective into who you are. So tell us about your neighborhood.
Yeah, sure. For the last 3 years, I've been living in an inner city trailer park right down the road from our campus in Pontiac, Michigan. And so really I've used that as kind of an avenue to connect Kensington with inner city Pontiac. So we partner with our trailer park really all year long with Easter egg hunts, Christmas support. We also do tutoring for kids after schools, vacation Bible school, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Well, glad to have you back as well to teach with us this fall and to be a part of today's hangout. So I want to start just because really on my mind, and I wish I could show you more out the window what's behind me, but the leaves are starting to turn. It's really a change of seasons for us here at SpringHill. Fall is in the air. And the next big retreat season we have coming up is our fall preteen retreats for 4th to 6th graders. So I wanted to start with a little bit of a conversation about why we do retreats even for this age group. And I think a lot of people are thinking, man, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, pile them in a bus, taking them far away sounds like a lot of work and a challenge. Like maybe I don't even want to talk about doing this, but why would we even consider it? So, Justin, Michael, why would you even think about taking your own students in your own ministry far away from home and taking on that hassle, that headache of a retreat with kids that age?
Lots of reasons. I mean, one is when you take your normal environment, especially I think like many of our kids come from the suburbs. When we take them out to a place like SpringHill, it really gives us a chance to get them to open up to talking about Christ, because everything is new at that point, and they're in a place that they're very unfamiliar with, and also I mean there's so much fun that's there, and I think that also opens them up to have deeper conversations about faith with their small group leaders and with other kids that are experiencing these things right alongside them.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's really cool about it is we're removing kids from their normal element, and so we're putting them into an environment where they don't have the same distractions that they may have back home, whether it's internet, TV, video games. Now we're putting them in a place where they can focus their entire attention on what God is wanting to say to them and to their small group.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and we see that sort of thing happening all the time here at camp, where the out of the ordinariness of the environment really does open up possibilities as well. You know, one of the things I think is so valuable about an experience like this is not just the experience you have once you get to camp, but the journey of getting here is sometimes really valuable for students. We see by the time they pull up in our parking lot here on a Friday night, you know, they're already best friends. They already all stink. Leaders are having a great time, and I imagine you guys have spent some time in this as well with kids going various places and seeing the same sorts of things happen. So.
Oh yeah, like the trip's a whole lot of fun on the way out. I mean, that's where the kids get to know each other, and you know, we sing silly songs and tell silly stories, and oh yeah, they've already had a chance to bond by the time they've got there.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Hey, you know, I want to take a moment, Justin, with you just to talk a little bit because you are new to our speaking lineup this fall at SpringHill, and so you know. There's a lot of names, a lot of great communicators come across our plate, and as you and I got to talk, we got to talk about the ministry and what happens here at a retreat. I wondered if you would share a little bit about your heart and your excitement. Why are you, you know, in particular, why are you willing to say yes to SpringHill to come and be a part of our season here with all the things you got going on back in Chicago?
Totally. I think part of my heart has always lived in Michigan. I went to college out there for 4 years, and so the state of Michigan is just really special to me. But I look back at my own personal journey and the way God used retreats as a way to shape and form me and really to get my attention. I unfortunately didn't go on a whole lot of retreats when I was in elementary school, but hitting late high school and then into college, they're just some of the most fruitful experiences. I can think back to two specifically. One when I was in Austin, Texas, where God began to form and shape me in the midst of some really, really challenging things. But I was able to be removed from all of that and to spend a couple of days away from all those distractions. Mm-hmm. And then the second one, I was in my mid-20s with a retreat actually at Willow, and it was a time where I really got to engage with God in a way that I'd never experienced. You know, I've been a follower of Christ since I was 10 years old, but at 27, something clicked. Something was just totally different. That began this next chapter of my life, which has actually led to me being on staff at Willow. So I just love the element of retreats. I think they're great.
That's great. Well, we're excited about having you join us and be a part of it. Now, Michael, you've been to Spring a lot, spoke here a couple times this summer to the kids at our family camps, and had a chance to bring along some of the kids from your neighborhood and from your ministry as well. So, what keeps you coming back and engaging here at SpringHill?
Oh yeah. Well, I grew up going to a lot of different camps, a lot of different. I didn't go to Kensington growing up, but most of the churches that we went to were smaller ones, and we tried a whole bunch of different kind of camps. So I've been able to kind of see the gamut of some places that don't have as much, and then places like SpringHill and Lake Ann and some others that have quite a bit to offer. So part of the reason I come back is it's fun. It's a place where there's a lot of things for them to do. And there's the right amount of structure and teaching and free time and even like open activities for people to jump on board with. So that's one. And the staff at SpringHill, they're great to work with, and they think a lot like we do at Kensington, and which is really nice. You guys you're totally on the same page.
Laughing. He's like, wait, you guys think?
That's awesome. No, I love that. That's so cool.
So, I mean, you guys have always been very accommodating for us, and when we have any kind of suggestions or any feedback or anything, like, you guys are very welcoming to that, and so that's great. And then on top of that, knowing that we go so many times throughout the year and send our men's retreats, our women's retreats, our family camp, kids stuff, it has this nice. I'm trying to think of the word. This nice, blend, this seamless story that kids get to follow. So if a kid grows up at Kensington, they get to SpringHill really gets to become a part of their life, and it becomes a huge piece, really a pillar in their spiritual life, because they're going to go at least once with the family camp. Their parents are going to go, or we're going to challenge them to. They get to go as kids, as middle schoolers, as high schoolers, and some even, some come on staff there, or some are counselors there. So there's this nice progression and we always know it's going to be in good hands.
Yeah, it's great. And it's great to think about the reality that there are a lot of different touch points you have with your students during the year. At camp is one of them, and with families and other parts, other aspects of ministry that you do. And so when you can get those things and build this into part of that kind of holistic approach to meeting the needs of families, you can see some of that happen. One of the big things that I know Kensington does is, Justin, I wonder if you could speak into this as well, is how we engage the adult leaders that we bring along, because it's not just you, Michael, piling 100 kids into buses and coming up by yourself, but it takes a lot of people really from your side even to make it a great experience. And both of you have mentioned relationships and interactions and small groups and things. But Justin, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how you would prepare adult leaders and invest in them to make the experience of a retreat great for the kids that you care so much about ministering to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in this process is it starts with you. Like if you're not coming in ready and open, if your heart isn't prepared, then it's really hard to speak into the lives of those kids around you. And so I think that the biggest thing is preparing leading up to the actual the camp, as opposed to waiting to, all right, I'm in the car, I've packed my bags, and now we start. But the journey begins far before that. It starts at sign up, leading up to the weeks coming up to the camp. And then I say at the camp, it's a great time to allow other people to speak into your students. So often when we're in leadership positions back at our home churches, we're the ones that are constantly driving the content and driving the message. And now at a retreat, you're able to sit back and to hear from someone else's perspective and to listen to their words and what they're saying. And at times, I've found on retreats that what's being said to the students is just as applicable to my life as it is to their lives. And to listen and see what is God shaping and forming in my heart, not what am I going to say next. I can sit back and embrace that and embrace, like Michael was saying, the fun times, because there's so much of that time where you're at a camp that you can have fun and not be sitting and listening and teaching. And then I think that a great piece coming out of camp is then what happens next, is that follow through. And the conversations that begin at camp don't stop there. The relationships that we build, they don't stop, but they carry through, hopefully, down the road. So I guess that would be my piece.
Yeah, that's great. Michael, as you're getting your leaders ready, I mean, you're going to be bringing kids here just a couple of weeks alongside other churches. You got staff that are doing those sort of things, but what are the conversations that you have with adult leaders about their experience at a preteen retreat? I mean, because really, there's an opportunity for them as well. And what are you hearing from them about relationships and the kids that they get to know and those sorts, and the impact on the ministry year back home?
Yeah, it cut out a little bit, but I think I know what you're asking. So if I don't answer your question, let me know. Our biggest conversation starts, as soon as they say they're interested in leading. As soon as they're interested in leading 4th and 5th graders. We at the beginning of the school year start training our leaders and putting a bug in their ear to join to be one of our counselors that go. And then we kind of train them along the way, and we have meetings beforehand just to make sure that they know what to expect, how to have conversations when they're in line for the zip line, or when they're riding on the horse, and we give them some tips and some questions to ask the kids along the way, kind of like that whole thing in the Old Testament about teaching kids along the way. So we kind of train them up in that, but what we found afterwards is kind of like what Justin said. Our adults get as much out of it as the kids do, because they get to see it from the eyes of through the eyes of the kids. They experience what the teacher says, and they experience the camp, but they get to experience on a whole nother level, because really they get to see kids' faith come alive, which really helps ignite some of them in their faith as well.
That's great. That's great. Thanks, guys. Hey, if you're watching this live and you're online, we do have the Q&A app running, and feel free if you have a question for Justin or for Michael or myself about the retreat or about them. Feel free to ask your questions there, and we can address them here live while we're broadcasting. If you do have questions afterwards, or if you're watching this recorded on YouTube or on our website, feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have about the retreat season coming up. You can reach me at my email address at SpringHill is ewoods@springhillcamps.com. I'd be happy to help there. You can call our main number and get in touch with us that way. We can talk to you about any questions that you might have about the retreat coming up. I wondered, as waiting for some questions to come in, Justin and Michael, as you communicate to kids in the 4th, 5th, 6th age range, what are some of the things that you are kind of keeping in your mind as communicators? What's unique about how you would speak to these kids versus adults or even middle schoolers? What's, as guys who are doing it on a regular basis, what's going through your head when you walk out onto a stage and need to get the attention of a group of kids? What are you guys thinking about?
Well, I think Michael, go for it, man.
Go ahead.
Michael, go. You're live.
Well, I can't. You kind of choppy, so I got like the first half of what you asked.
Sure.
Was it about communication?
Yeah, talk to us. What goes through your head as you walk onto the stage to communicate to this age group?
Gotcha. I would say number one is I think 4th through 6th graders, I think they can handle more than what we give them on a regular weekend. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times the expectation is that you don't have to go deep with them, or they don't want you to. But the reality is that's exactly what they need. It's what they're looking for. So I always go out there with knowing that I want to make them laugh, but at the same time I want to make them think, and I want them to see whatever is being taught, like right on their level. Thinking like even like with doctrine and stuff, like you can talk doctrine with a 4th and 5th grader, if you can help them see it in their lives,
Yeah. Justin, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the things that has been so impactful to me in this last year has been seeing the depth at which our students can go. Far too often, my understanding of youth ministry growing up was let's give facts and figures, and then we'll work on the heart piece later on in life. And I think that's just it's crazy when I see our students and hear what they're going through and to see some of the things they're experiencing. Like, they're ready to talk about the tough stuff. They're ready to share what's happening in their lives. We did something this past weekend, and we were talking about the tough stuff, and we were using Joseph, his story, and we had students coming in, writing their own psalms, talking about how the bullying that they're experiencing and how they want God to intervene in that, the arguments and the fights between the parents as they're going through these marital struggles. They're seeing this stuff on a daily basis, and to give them this a pretty little wrapped up package of this is what it means is I don't think doing them a great service. We love unpacking these truths and going deeper with them and allowing them to wrestle with what does it mean to follow Jesus Christ and how can I do that while, like Michael was saying, have fun. Like it's got to be fun. It's got to be creative. There has to be that high energy because that's what they desire so much.
Yeah. It's great stuff, and it's cool to see this kind of come to life on stage here at SpringHill. Guys like Justin and Michael and Sean Sweet who couldn't be with us today to chat, but to bring kind of this creative energy to life on stage, and we do it probably a lot like a lot of churches do, but it's not just teaching. We'll teach and then we'll go have fun, but at SpringHill we really value the integration of faith and fun, so that so that we don't stop having fun when we come into the auditorium, and we don't start having fun when we go out, stop learning when we go out of the auditorium. You know, Michael, I think, mentioned the line at the zip line as a kind of a key place sometimes for communicating content to kids. I mean, the conversation keeps going, and we always joke about laying in bed late at night in the cabin, and one kid's making farting noises, another kid is asking deepest questions. He wants to understand, and so there's so many opportunities like that when you're at a retreat or at a camp away, and that happens here at SpringHill as well. And then when we do get on the stage, it's not just talking head. It's not just curriculum, and we teach what we have to, and but it's a really we try to engage, and Michael, you were part of this last year, so engage the kids during the teaching. So the skit, the drama, those things tie right into the message. The object lessons, the illustrations, the things that they can have and hold on to and touch, are all part of how they get to process the message and integrate that into their own heart and life. And then that small group opportunity gives them a chance to really make application. So what does this mean for us now? For me, for our little group here, for our church back home, and our school. And we see that sort of stuff then lived out, hopefully in the lives of kids every day. Cool. It's been great to be with you guys and talk. I wonder if you have any parting thoughts or words, anything, a challenge you could leave with a person who's investing every day in the life of young kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. I'm going to put you on the spot. So let's go to Justin first.
Sure. I'd say it's awesome to see what you guys are doing, and how the impact isn't just today, but it might be realized 2, 3, 4 years down the road. But when that does click, it's just a beautiful thing. And so I just say keep up the great work.
Hey, thanks for being with us, Justin, and we're excited to have you here teaching in just a few weeks at Preteen Retreat. Michael?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I echo what Justin said. Like, you never know the seeds that you're planting right now. Like, you're going to see them bloom in the next decade. I mean, it's going to be a while before you see it. Not often, but most of the time. And then on top of that, just never underestimate what they can understand, what they want to understand, and also what they are understanding. Because even when they're talking, even when they're being crazy, even when they're farting on each other's heads, there's something that's still sinking in with them. Yeah.
That's great, Michael. We're glad to have you back on the teaching team. We're looking forward to our preteen retreats up here in just a few weeks. If you're looking for more information, you can go to springhillcamps.com and just click on the retreats link. Look for preteens for our retreats for 4th to 6th graders. The first 3 weekends, full weekends in November. We're going to have a great time. Thanks again, Michael, and thanks, Justin, for being with us today. You guys have a great day. Thanks to all for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.
See ya.